Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still sitting on the edge of potentially a major breakout, while Ethereum is potentially acting as a leading indicator for Bitcoin as it is breaking above short-term resistance, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is still running into this important horizontal resistance, while the Bitcoin price is still technically within a larger multi-month long bullish trend according to the super trend indicator, as I've been saying since the beginning of this year. So basically over the last 1 day, nothing has really changed here on the 4-day time frame, and if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, once again the price of Bitcoin is still running into this important resistance, sitting in between around 30,000 to 31,000. And if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin price oscillators, first of all, the daily Bitcoin MACD is once again showing reduced momentum in the shorter term. So as I've been saying almost every day over the last 1 to 1.5 weeks, obviously this means we're looking very neutral in the short term. So I'm mostly expecting some sideways price action in the shorter term. And while this is playing out, this is of course helping to reset the daily Bitcoin RSI, because obviously around 1.5 weeks ago, the daily Bitcoin RSI was sitting in overbought territories, telling us that we're overheated in the shorter term and we need some time to cool off. And as I explained in more detail in my last video on this channel, basically if the price of Bitcoin continues to trade sideways in this sideways price range in the short term over the next 3 days or so, then we should start to see a quick drop off in the daily Bitcoin RSI back down towards more neutral levels, towards the middle of the RSI. Once again, if we actually see some more sideways price action over the next 3 days or so. And if you're wanting to know exactly why that's the case, then check out my last video on the channel to find out more. But basically, if that ends up happening, if we do end up seeing some more sideways price action over the next 3 days or so, and we end up seeing this daily Bitcoin RSI continue to reset back down towards more neutral levels, then obviously that can give us more room to the upside later on for a possible breakout above that significant resistance. And as for the next price target, if we do end up seeing a major breakout above 31,000, then in that case, next I'll be looking towards around 37,000, because that is simply the next significant Fibonacci extension. First of all, if you're looking at these previous Fibonacci extensions, when you look at the Fibonacci retracement tool from the pre-FTX collapse high back in November last year down to the bear market bottom, then that brings out these Fibonacci extensions, the first one being the 1618 level sitting at around 25.2k, exactly where we saw this previous high in the price of Bitcoin throughout the larger bullish trend. And then obviously from there we saw a major correction and then continued the trend later on with a confirmed breakout above 25.2k. And from that moment when we broke above that level, the next significant target or the next significant Fibonacci extension was the 2618 level sitting at around 31,000, which is pretty much exactly where the price of Bitcoin went next before the next major correction. And then obviously over the last 2 weeks or so, we've seen a decent recovery from that correction, and we're possibly on the next major leg to the upside within this larger bullish trend that has been the case since November last year. And so all we need to see now is a confirmed breakout above 31,000 in order to confirm the next significant leg to the upside, potentially up towards 37,000, which is where that 3618 Fibonacci extension is sitting at. But anyway, if you're zooming into the shorter term, this is on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart. And once again, as I've been saying for pretty much the last 1 week or so, I'm leaning very neutral in the shorter term, not overly bullish or overly bearish, because at least as of right now, the price of Bitcoin is simply in a sideways price range if you're looking at these smaller time frames. And in case you're wondering, this area of support is sitting in between around 29.9k to 30.1k, and this area of resistance is sitting at around 30.8k to 31k. So once again, just in the imminent short term, talking about possibly the next few days, we're looking relatively neutral while the price of Bitcoin is still in this sideways price range. range. But as I said earlier, in a few days from now, if we continue to see more of that sideways price action in the short term, that would help to rapidly reset this RSI on the daily time frame, which could potentially set up for a breakout above that significant resistance if we don't see a rejection within the next few days. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And once again, as I've been saying since the beginning of this year, the price of ETH is still in a significant bullish trend here on the larger time frames. We're still seeing significant higher lows and higher highs. But obviously, during a larger bullish trend, we can experience shorter term bearish trends or corrections. But once again, just over the last few weeks, just like Bitcoin, in the shorter term, the price has recovered from that previous correction with a breakout above that descending line of resistance and a successful bounce from this previous resistance, now acting as support like what we saw back here. And in case you're wondering, this area of support on the daily time frame is sitting in between around 1770 to 1820. And as for the daily Ethereum price oscillators, first of all, the daily Ethereum MACD is still looking bullish as of right now, because obviously it's still showing bullish momentum and has not yet confirmed a new bearish cross. And if you're looking at the daily Ethereum RSI, first of all, what I've been saying over the last few days, or nearly over the last 1 week or so, is basically the RSI on the daily time frame is looking very neutral. But just over the last 1 day, this has started to flip more bullish, because as you can see here, we are now actually forming a higher high in the daily Ethereum RSI, which is simply a sign of strength. Anytime where the RSI starts trending back to the upside, that is usually a sign of strength that shows we have some bullish momentum building up. So overall, on the larger time frames, we're still looking more bullish than bearish, but of course we did have that potential bearish divergence, which I talked about in my last video here on the 12-hour ETH to US dollar chart. But since then, we have now seen a confirmed breakout above that resistance at around 1940. And as I said in my last video, if we see a confirmed breakout above 1940 with a candle close above 1940, which by the way, we've seen an 8-hour candle close and now a 12-hour candle close above 1940. And so considering that's the case, this bearish divergence is now already invalidated. Now it's possible we could form a new bearish divergence from here, because we're still clearly seeing higher highs in the price in the candle closes, while also still technically forming lower highs in the RSI. But with that being said, it is important to understand that this potential new bearish divergence here on the 12-hour time frame is not yet confirmed, because we have not yet confirmed this new high in place in the RSI. So for that, we need to see some candle closes confirm in the red, like what we saw back here, in order to potentially start confirming a new bearish divergence. But for now, there is simply no active bearish divergence anymore here on the 12-hour chart or the 8-hour chart, for example. And now, if you're looking at that 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart, once again, we have now seen a confirmed breakout with an 8-hour candle close above this important resistance, the golden pocket, which was sitting in between around 1930 to 1940. And so technically speaking, that should now act as new support for the price of ETH in case we see a pullback or a retest of that level. And this breakout to the upside would only become invalidated if we actually see a confirmed break back below around 1930 approximately. So at least for now, the next major resistance to pay attention to based on the Fibonacci retracement tool is of course the 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, which is sitting at around $2,000, more specifically around 2020, which is also exactly where this previous high came into play. So we do already have confirmed resistance at around 2020. So once again, that is simply the next important level to pay attention to. But in a more bullish scenario, if we actually see a confirmed breakout above 2020, then in that case, next I'll be watching these previous highs that we saw back in April, sitting just above 2.1K. And as for short-term support, once again, we should find support around this previous resistance that we just broke out above, which once again is sitting at around 1930 to 1940 in case we actually see a bit of a pullback. But if we actually end up invalidating this breakout to the upside with a confirmed break back below 1930, then in that case, the next significant support is sitting at around 1.8K. And And now, if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways like Bitcoin is right now, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money automatically using artificial intelligence, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from a sideways price range. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.